What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, former unified WBC, WBA, welterweight world champion superstar boxer Keith one-time Thurman, and former IBF welterweight world champion British superstar boxer Special K, Kell Brook, are going back and forth. Kell Brook recently called out Keith Thurman. He stated that he heard Keith Thurman make mention of his name in a past interview, and he stated that if he really wants to fight, contact his team, inbox him. He said that we can have a conversation and make this fight happen. He said, but only serious offers, he'll recognize, right? So he's saying that Kell Brook said that if Keith Thurman is serious, then he's willing to make the fight happen, right? He said, inbox me, we can have a conversation, call me, we can have our teams meet up and make this fight happen. I believe this would be a big fight. Keith Thurman now has responded. Keith Thurman has been very, very active as of late. Seems like he's trying to place himself back into position to become a world champion and back in the place of relevancy, right? Because Keith Thurman has been out of sight, out of mind. He has a lot of injuries, so he was outside of the ring. He came back, he fought Josito Lopez after nearly a 2-year layoff. He nearly lost. It seemed like he was on the verge of getting knocked out in that fight. He weathered the storm and won the fight. Then, he fought Manny Pacquiao, 8-division world champion, legendary, iconic Filipino superstar boxer, and currently the WBA welterweight world champion through beating Keith Thurman. So Keith Thurman fought Manny Pacquiao, and then Manny Pacquiao beat Keith Thurman. So with that said, Keith Thurman now is calling out Errol Spence. Ironically, the shoe is on the other foot. When Errol Spence was calling out and chasing down Keith Thurman wasn't willing to give Errol Spence that opportunity. Now, lately, Keith Thurman came out and stated that if Errol Spence don't fight him, he needs to leave the division. If he's going to solidify himself as legit world champion at the welterweight division, he's going to have to go through him. Those words, pretty much fell on deaf ears due to the fact that most people understand, and anybody that's involved with the sport of boxing as a fan, a boxing pundit, media member, or whomever, understands that Errol Spence was looking to get the fight with Keith Thurman for quite some time, and Keith Thurman was just unwilling to do so. Keith Thurman kept putting it off, saying that this is a fight that could take place down the line in the future as a mega fight. He kept, likening himself to Floyd Mayweather and Errol Spence to Manny Pacquiao, saying Errol Spence is my Manny Pacquiao. He wanted to build up the fight. So he kept, dancing around. He kept giving Errol Spence's these stipulations. If you win the world title, then I'll fight you. He won the world title, ironically, going to the UK and beating Kell Brook for the IBF World Championship. Coming back, asked Keith Thurman to unify, and Keith Thurman kept putting him off. With that said, now Keith Thurman has responded to Kell Brook. He stated that this is a fight he would love if it's serious. He said, send the contract. He said, and I will come to the UK. I always dreamt about fighting over in the UK like Muhammad Ali. So he said that Kell Brook, he said that he don't know how relevant Kell Brook's name is and him as a fighter is. This just lets you know that Keith Thurman has been slightly out of touch with the sport of boxing, because he said that he don't know how big of a name Kell Brook is currently within the sport of boxing and how relevant he is. But that would always a dream of his, was to go to the UK and fight on UK soil as Muhammad Ali did. So he said to fight a guy with a name like Kell Brook over in the UK is a dream for mine, and I would love this fight. He said, tell Kell Brook to send over the contract. I'm about contracts. So he said, get the pounds ready, get the contract ready, send it over, and let's make it happen ASAP. You don't have to worry about coming to the States, because I'll gladly come to the UK. It's been a dream of mine. So I think this is a great fight. I know there's travel restrictions. This due to the quarantine and social distancing and, everything going on with this pandemic. I don't know if Keith Thurman is able to travel to the UK. I know that according to Bob Arum, legendary promoter, CEO of Top Rank, he stated that there was an issue with getting Kell Brook into the United States. So I don't know if the United States is just preventing guys from coming into the United States unless you're a resident of the United States. And if you could travel outside of the United States, being a resident in the United States. I don't know how that works. But Keith Thurman is stating that he's very willing and able to go over to the UK. So there is no roadblock there. I'm pretty sure Kell Brook, this is right up Kell Brook's alley, is to be able to stay home, and compete in a mega fight. Because this, outside of the fight with Errol Spence, Gennady Golovkin, and Shawn Porter, this is his fourth biggest fight. Actually, yeah, it's his fourth biggest fight because with Shawn Porter, it was for the world. His opportunity to fight for a world title was the first time he captured a world title. So him capturing the belt, was up his alley. And then you look at it from this standpoint, that Gennady Golovkin, he dared to be great. He was the reigning middleweight champion. He moved up 2 weight classes. So then you look at it from Errol Spence. Errol Spence is a bigger name than Gennady Golovkin and Shawn Porter. So that's number 1 on his list. And he tried to successfully defend the title. Unfortunately, he was unsuccessful, right, against Errol Spence. Errol Spence came to the UK. So Keith Thurman and Shawn Porter, namesake, and Gennady Golovkin, namesake-wise, is probably on the same level right now. Shawn Porter's a bigger name, but Shawn Porter fight with with Kell Brook was years ago. That was in 2014, I believe. So that's 6 years ago since the last time they fought. So, Shawn Porter's name has grown since that fight with Kell Brook. But with that said, this would be a mega fight for Kell Brook. And this is a mega opportunity and a mega fight for Keith Thurman. Because this is an opportunity for Keith Thurman to throw his hat in the ring. With that said, we know Terrence Crawford, undefeated, 3-division world champion, former undisputed junior welterweight world champion, and currently the WBO welterweight world champion. Terrence Crawford and Bob Arum are looking to make a fight and get a deal done with Kell Brook. But like I said, Bob Arum said there was travel restrictions. So that was holding it up. That was preventing it from taking place. Now, if Keith Thurman could swipe Kell Brook away and then go to the UK, right, and fight in a hostile environment and beat Kell Brook over there like Errol Spence did. See, Gennady Golovkin didn't go to the UK. Errol Spence did, right? So this would put Keith Thurman back in the, in the conversation as, one of the top in the welterweight division. He's still top 4, top 5, but this would really work wonders for his career, right? This would be the biggest win since he fought Danny Garcia, right? Josito Lopez is a big name, but not like Kell Brook. So for him to go to the UK, win in the UK, I think that sets up a fight with him, Keith Thurman, and Terrence Crawford, right? I think that aligns them perfectly because the fight between Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford is not going to happen next. Errol Spence wants to fight Danny Garcia next. That's the fight that's coming up. Then he wants to fight Manny Pacquiao. So right now, currently, Terrence Crawford doesn't have a fight. Terrence Crawford did recently come out and state that he don't mind fighting Shawn Porter and, for the minimum. So maybe he fights Shawn Porter, but still in all, he's going to need another fight in between that because Errol Spence is looking to fight Manny Pacquiao. So Errol Spence is not looking to fight Terrence Crawford 2 fights, 3 fights down the line. So Terrence Crawford, after Shawn Porter, should he be successful against Shawn Porter, is going to need another opportunity and another fight. And Keith Thurman going and beating Kell Brook in the UK, then coming to the States and setting up a fight between Keith Thurman and Terrence Crawford would be absolutely enormous. Especially Keith Thurman beats Kell Brook in dramatic fashion in the UK. That speaks volumes, right? So that would set up a mega title opportunity for Keith Thurman and a huge name for Terrence Crawford. So imagine Terrence Crawford beats Shawn Porter, then fights and beats Keith Thurman coming off of one of the biggest wins in Keith Thurman's career. That speaks volumes, right? Now you're setting up. Now Terrence Crawford will have beaten Keith Thurman and Shawn Porter en route to undisputed match with Errol Spence. And then Errol Spence would have been beaten Danny Garcia, Shawn Porter, Mikey Garcia, and then Manny Pacquiao for undisputed bout with Terrence Crawford. Undoubtedly, that's the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. Hands down, point blank and period. So that was set up. Keith Thurman, Terrence Crawford, that's a mega fight, right? And by that time, things might have cleared up and come back to somewhat of normalcy. And maybe that Keith Thurman, Terrence Crawford fight is a major pay-per-view fight, right? But it sets up big things for the future. should Keith Thurman go to the UK and beat Kell Brook. So I like this fight. And if Kell Brook is able to beat Keith Thurman, then Kell Brook still has the fight on the table with Terrence Crawford. Comes to the state, like I said, everything sets up for normal is for to be back to somewhat normal. Kell Brook fights Terrence Crawford after beating Keith Thurman, places him back in the spotlight and back in the relevancy. And Terrence Crawford and Kell Brook fight, still he beats Kell Brook. It still sets up a mega showdown for Errol Spence. It makes the fight the undisputed bout. For undisputed, the biggest fight in the sport of boxing, for undisputed being Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. Both guys undefeated. Both guys having a solidified, a super strong resume, makes it that much bigger. Can you imagine? The winner of that fight is hands down going to be considered. There is going to be no question who's the pound for pound best fighter in the world. So that sets up their legacy, man, for years. You understand? It'll be unforgotten. You know, everything else they do after that is just the cherry on top. Point blank and period. So let's see how this plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed? Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.